Early on, one of the record companies approached us for an investment, and they liked what we were doing. They wanted to get involved, and I'll never forget it. Brittany took the meeting. I don't know where I was. I had something to do, and she took the meeting. And we were so naive. Like, we had no idea what was going on. And she sits down in the meeting with this guy, and he's like, well, I'd like to see your business plan. Like, right. what do you have going on? And Brittany is like, I love her so much. That first night that we went out to a bar, and I was like, I'm gonna ask for my job back. Like, Condé Nast, this is crazy. She told me about this, and we were kind of brainstorming, and she said, well, if we had a company, what would be the goals of our company? And we wrote on a bar napkin, number 1, make money, and number 2, have fun. And like, no way. Yeah, those are the 2 things on the bar napkin.
I love it.
And
how to turn a napkin dream into a crazy.
She's sitting with this record label dude, and she goes, our business plan is to make money and to have fun. And he's like, no, I mean like your real business plan. Yeah. And she was just like, that's the plan.
What's good? It's another episode of Leaders Create Leaders, and we're on 5th Ave getting ready to go meet up with the co-founder, Kim Kaupe. I mean, she is one badass founder and entrepreneur of a company called ZinePaks, which is basically a company that creates a product for superfans.
Superfans are everywhere. They paint their faces on game days, go to midnight movie premieres in costume, and have seen their favorite band play live 37 times. Superfans don't just consume their entertainment, they live it. Today's instant everything culture fuels a desire for awesome stuff fans can literally get their hands on. Enter ZinePaks. We're bringing back limited edition, collectible coolness by channeling the super satisfying feeling of unwrapping a new album or opening your favorite magazine. The ZinePaks configuration pairs a small format magazine and exclusive merchandise, such as magnets, patches, guitar picks, or flower seeds, into one ultra collectible, must-have package, created entirely by our pop culture experts. Give your fans what they crave, whether you're a brand, artist, entertainment franchise, or athlete. ZinePaks elevate audience engagement to a whole new level. Find out why Taylor Swift, KISS, American Idol, Nickelodeon, and dozens more have thrilled their superfans by releasing 2 million ZinePaks since 2011.
What made you choose entrepreneurship as that career path?
Well, I didn't choose it, it chose me.
Nice.
I loved publishing growing up. From the age of like 12 on, I knew I wanted to work in magazines. Other people kind of were still changing their college majors. Literally from 12 on, I was like, I will work in a magazine. I had a mentor who was almost like a big sister, and she worked in magazines, so then it was kind of like anything she did, I was like, I love that too. So my internships freshman year, I did a local magazine where I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. My sophomore and junior year, I came up here to New York and worked at People magazine. And then when I graduated senior year, I called up that old mentor, and she had moved from People magazine over to Condé Nast to Brides magazine. So when I graduated, I was able to get a job there with her, and I worked at Brides magazine for 2.5 years. We were in the same building as Vogue and Vanity Fair. Condé Nast is tough. I love it, and I wouldn't change it for anything. But after 2.5 years, I was like totally burnt out. Hopped over to an ad agency kind of on a whim, and everything happens for a reason, because that's where I met my co-founder. I ended up 2 weeks into the ad agency completely hating it, and I was like crying on the phone to my mom, like, what am I gonna do? I have to leave, I can't stay here. And she's like, well, you're gonna have to call your old boss at Condé Nast and like grovel and ask for your job back. And that sounded, can I curse? That sounded fucking terrible.
Yeah,
so I was like, I am not good at groveling, and I'm not good at, especially because like when I walked out, I was like, deuces, like I'm out. So I didn't want to come back 2 weeks later and be like, I made a mistake. So I met my co-founder. She sat next to me at the ad agency, and we went out for drinks, and I was like, this place sucks. Like, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna call my old boss and cry hysterically and ask for my job back, because I knew they hadn't filled it. And she said, well, before you do that, like I kind of had this idea, and when I met you, I kind of thought you'd be perfect for it because you know so much about magazines and content, and I know a lot about music. I came from the music industry, worked at a label for 5 years before I came here, and music and magazines, and what if we, did this stuff together? And so I was like, option one is start a business with this girl I literally just met, or grovel. And like, I hate groveling so bad that I was like, I will start a business with this stranger basically, because statistically most startups fail. So I was like, oh, it will fail statistically. And then at least when I call my old boss and cry, I will have like an amazing story. Because I'll be like, well, for 3 months I was the CEO and now I'm asking you for a job back. So I met Brittany in October, and we incorporated the business in January. I literally knew her for 90 days before we started a company together. And I think there's a show on TLC called 90 Day Fiancé. That's basically what I did. Basically 90 Day Fiancé. Yeah, it's a marriage. I 90 Day Fiancé, like, my co-founder.
When Kim and her co-founder Brittany started her company, they really didn't consider themselves entrepreneurs. They really didn't know what they were doing. In fact, they talk about it. They were a little naive. But one thing that they did was they took action. They didn't sit there contemplating and having over-analysis paralysis, just talking about their idea. They actually put it into action and they executed. And if there's one thing about this series that you'll learn is that every single one of these successful leaders and entrepreneurs doesn't just sit back and talk about their ideas, they execute on their ideas.
3 months, you're obviously just like, okay, this is good. Like, what made you say, okay, now this can be something great, and like start to figure out how to scale this now?
I think we were just really dumb in like the best way. Like, we were just so naive. I mean, I was 25 and I think we were just too dumb to not know any better. I mean, literally we had no business plan. We still don't have a business plan.
That's awesome.
We don't have any sort of forecasting. We don't have any sort of PowerPoint. Somebody asked me for a PowerPoint the other day. I was like, I don't think I've had a PowerPoint since Condé Nast. Like, we don't do PowerPoints. I don't even know what PowerPoint. Like, if I were to do it all again, yes, like doing accelerators and having business plans and like getting your shit together is super duper important. We just got like incredibly lucky.
That's amazing.
Incredibly lucky.
And she's now in New York City building her dream. And one thing that you're gonna learn about this episode that I love about Kim is the fact that she's still very grounded and humble. When you get to know Kim, you understand why she's been able to build such solid relationships with such huge artists and brands that wanna work with her on ZinePaks.
I joke all the time, I want to be the dumbest person in the room.
Yes.
But I want to know the smart people.
Exactly.
I don't want to be the smartest.
And then one of my other mentors just always just tell me, like, relationships are leverage. Like, you can work tirelessly on your hustle and on your dream, but like, if you don't know how to leverage relationships around you, like, you will never get to, that exponential type of success. So, I mean, that's amazing. And now, like, so you met Brittany, 90 days, you go all in, you get incorporated, and then it's like, now, okay, great, you learned a lot inside working for like a major company, but now starting a company is a completely different animal.
Totally different.
Did you guys look at each other and be like, okay, we're doing this, like, now what?
Yeah, I mean, we made like so many mistakes. We could sit here for 3 hours and tell you about all the mistakes we made. But we kind of had a game plan of like, if in 3 months we're not making any money, then we go get corporate jobs. Because I had a 3 month. She was married.
3 months.
She was married, so she had she had somebody a little bit of support. Like, I guess after 3 months, like, which is how much money I had in my savings account, I guess I could have called my mom and like begged her to like wire me money or something, but like I wasn't gonna have any incoming money. Right. So I was like, okay, it's 3 months. It's 3 months or bust. But we had an agency model where it's like, I know that hat costs $2, but I sell it to you for $5. So I know that we're making $3. So I was like, if we have this agency model, unlike people who build SaaS companies or tech companies or whatever, you have to put so much money up front for programmers and developers and all this stuff. Or if you're gonna start a cupcake shop, you need the cupcake machines and the bakery and all that sort of stuff. Yep. We just needed like our brains and a computer and a phone. That was all we needed.
Wow.
So for us, it was like, if we can't make money in 3 months, then That's like really bad. but luckily we did. But yeah, I mean, starting off, we had no idea what the heck we were doing. No idea. We were working from home.
But you still had to brand something, right? Like you still had to be like, okay, how do we take this and like you're basically selling the brand itself and like what the brand, how the brand would create value, right? So like how did you, I want to know what that pitch was like to get those first clients.
Yeah, our initial kind of concept was, we started the company in January 2011 to kind of give you a glimpse of what the landscape was like. The main way that people were consuming music was iTunes and Pandora. Actually later that January is when Daniel brought Spotify over here from the UK. So like Spotify didn't exist in 2011, nobody knew what it was. So it was really just Pandora and iTunes. And with Britney coming from the record label, we kind of were saying, how can we help bolster physical music sales? Well, you have to give something that people can't download on iTunes and can't stream off Pandora. So we came up with this concept of pairing a magazine and merchandise items with the music. So if you loved Rihanna, instead of just getting the new Rihanna album, you could get the Rihanna album with a 64-page magazine with interviews with Rihanna and her stylist and her tour manager, and kind of really getting upset. Like the super fan is kind of who we were targeting, not somebody who's like a casual fan. And then some sort of merch item, whether it's stickers or tattoos or a poster or anything else that you would buy kind of in her online store. So we packaged all those things together and then had the idea of selling them at retail, selling them at Walmart. So going back to relationships, for 5 years when Britney worked at the record label, her job was retail relations, so Walmart, Best Buy, Target, etc. And she actually became friends with the Walmart buyer like outside of work. They were both in their 20s, both women. They went out for drinks. The Walmart buyer lived in Bentonville. Britney's family lived not far from there. So when she would go home from the holidays, and even after she left the record label, you know, they became friends on Facebook. They did the whole like happy birthday when it was their birthday. And even though Britney never really worked with her again after she left the label, when we started ZinePaks, we were able to call her, and we actually launched our first project in all 3,000 Walmart stores nationwide. Most people say like, oh, did you test? You know, you test in 300 stores, you test in...
One of my businesses is doing that now. Like they won't even test us at the stores yet. They first make us test like on .com, then you get a couple stores, and it's like a whole process. But
yeah, we rolled out to nationwide on our first project, and that was really based off, again, kind of like your mentors were saying, like you have to leverage those relationships. First, you have to keep them. Yeah. So I always say,
nurture and keep them.
I always say, Britney could have said, "Oh, I'm leaving the record company. I have no use for this girl anymore. Even though I like her, I'm gonna defriend her from Facebook and like kind of not talk to her again." But she kept the relationship going, and we were 100% able to leverage it when the time came.
That's huge.
I know.
So wait, I just want to take that. Like,
I know.
How did you take that? So when you got that deal, were you like?
Yeah.
So was this within 3 months?
So then, we started. Yeah, it was kind of crazy, and also it was like that first project. We had this concept of music, magazines, merch. Like, you know, how can we convince somebody to do this? How can we convince a record company to try this? And again, I say that all great entrepreneurs have luck and most importantly, timing. I think timing is huge.
I talk about that all the time.
Timing is huge. I mean, the most popular example I give people is, what was the difference between MySpace and Facebook, or MySpace and Friendster? Nothing. They're all, MySpace had a wall you could write on, a profile picture, a little bit about you, you could have friends. Literally everything I just named that Facebook had, but Facebook had the right timing, the right audience, like it's just the right time. And it doesn't mean that you didn't have a great idea, it just meant the timing was off and it didn't work. 100%. So for us, you know, the timing of 2011 and physical music sales and what was happening with Spotify, we just like had good timing where the record labels were really open to hearing about new ideas, whereas a year or two before they might be like, we don't need you.
I agree with the timing, but a lot of times, like, you can forecast sometimes, looking at the marketplace, looking at what's happening in certain sectors, and right now more than ever, I always say it's like one of the best times to be an entrepreneur, in history, because like there is so much disruption happening with like corporate America. They're all trying to figure out how to get millennials right now, how to rebrand, how to retain them, all of these things. Do you feel that like entrepreneurs right now should not recreate the wheel, but you kind of did in a way by analyzing like, okay, where is there a need in the marketplace with industries that are right now struggling because of what's happening in technology today, with millennials and now Gen Z?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. You have to forecast a little bit. What we were seeing, when we were starting the company was, it's hard to believe, but there was no Instagram, there was no Snapchat, there was no Vine. Twitter had, 2011, Twitter was becoming popular, but not a ton of people were on it. But what we were seeing even with Twitter, we were like, wow, or Facebook pages, we were seeing that, wow, people are consuming things a lot faster than they used to. And what we were kind of anticipating was like, okay, you have a music artist, I don't care who it is, Britney Spears. And back in the day, Britney Spears could have one photo shoot and one album and maybe another photo shoot, and that would be it for a whole year. And what we were seeing is, wow, they're updating her Facebook page. It started out once a month, but now it's once a week, but now it's once a day. Like, that whole joke of like you're feeding the bears, and if you keep feeding the bears will continue to come.
Yeah.
And as we saw artists go to Twitter, Brittany and I were thinking like, wow, people are consuming a lot of this content very, very quickly. And they will probably continue to do that. So these super fans aren't going to be okay with just reading, one Facebook post. They're going to want to read 2 and then 3, and they want to know what she smells like and eats like. And so when we had this idea of like, I don't know, will a 64-page magazine work? We were like, I don't know, I think people would want to read 64 pages about artists that they're like obsessed with.
It's pretty exciting what you're doing, huh?
Oh my God. I feel like every day that you get to wake up and do something creative and fun is like the best day ever. Like even on my worst day, it was better than my best day at a corporate job that I like kind of liked.
Yeah.
So
what would you say? So like, what's like a piece of advice you would give somebody out there that's like kind of nervous and like scared, and would you tell them to take the jump? Like what would you say to yourself again if you were starting all over?
I would say, there's never a right time, right? There's always going to be another excuse. One more paycheck, one more cycle of this, one more, it's never going to be the right time. You're never going to feel 100% about it. You're never going to feel super excited. You're always going to feel scared shitless, but you have to do it anyway. You have to, because you're meant to, and that's what you need to do, and that's what you're supposed to do. And so, at some point you try to mitigate the risks as best you can. So if you have kids, you try to save up enough income. If you are trying to pay off your house, you see if you can refinance. There's always things that you can do, but at the end of the day, you just have to make the leap and know that you set up a good net to catch yourself if you end up falling. So hopefully you don't fall.
Please continue to comment below, like our videos, share. If you have any opinions of people that you want to have on the show, any other really dope women entrepreneurs, definitely just tag us, comment, let us know. We all appreciate it. The whole team appreciates it. We do these for you. And thank you for being a part of the LCL community. It's your boy GA. Peace.